Yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Burning Daylight, a stream showcasing the brand new role-playing game Burn Bryte, made specifically for Roll20. Welcome. Wow, we're so happy to have you here. Hi, everybody. I guess I'll just dive into intros. Hey, my name is Celeste Conowich, and I'm going to be your game master today.
Excellent. Hello, I'm Darcy Ross. My pronouns are she, her, and I play Ola, the lovable bugman Kithuk who's, fighting to save his friends. And I was one of the designers on Burn Bryte, so I'm really happy to be here under this amazing team.
Hey everybody, I'm Eugenio, also known as DM Jazzy Hands, and I am playing Atash Telonast, our Zzhure friend this evening. Atash is a little nervous. He's been out of another body for a while, so also we were just attacked by tentacles, so that didn't help.
Yeah, Space Kraken. It's good times.
Good times.
I'm Jess. My pronouns are she, they, and I play Lou, a driftling whose pronouns are they, them, who is excited that the fight with the Space Kraken is over so that we can not be fighting a Space Kraken. That's what Lou likes to do, is not fight Space Krakens, specifically.
We're learning about ourselves in this journey across the galaxy.
Yes, hello, I'm Naseem, and I am playing your Rornan, Vam Fam, who's very excited that we have finally come across another Rornan. It has been some time.
Yes. Yeah, and before we dive into the recap where we tell you all about what happened last time, I do want to shout out that right now we are running donations, a donation campaign for Code 2040. So if you look up above us, you can see this little Tiltify bar right here. So you can go ahead and donate to potentially win a free copy of Burn Bryte. So if you're into this amazing game, why not donate to a great cause and enter to win a copy of this game? Code 2040 does a lot of awesome work bringing marginalized folks into the tech gaming space. So all your donations go to helping train people up and doing really great stuff. So we are currently $88. Someone was a chaos beast. We are currently $98. Wow, numbers. $98 away from giving away another copy of this game. So get in there. $98. Let's make it happen. Speaking of making things happen, wow, you all, what a time we had. We've made some references to it, but for the folks at home who may have missed last game, what happened last time on Burning Daylight?
We got attacked by a hungry space kraken that really wanted a purple tree.
That's the short of it.
That's the very short answer.
That's the long and short of that.
How did it start? What happened?
Wanda told us that she was getting some distress signal from a nearby ship, like an hour or so away, and we went to go check it out. And we discovered a station being suffocated, being enveloped by this space kraken. And it looked as if it was trying to get into it because it was full of like greenery and foliage and space plants. And it was trying to get something out of that ship. So we connected to the person on that ship, found out it was a Rornan. If there's anyone else on there, I don't know if we found that out.
Yeah, the flower people.
Oh, okay, yeah, and flower people with like petally faces. And I connected with my Rornan network, and we were like, you need to eject the purple spiral fruit plant into space. It is hungry. While the Kraken was taking us down pretty hard, things were looking dire. And
it attacked Wanda. Mm-hmm. It took Wanda out, and something strange happened, and then Wanda was back.
We all practically died. Let's be clear. And Wanda.
A couple of times the hull was breached. We were almost sucked out into space. Wanda died, and then I think was revived or resurrected somehow. Like, it's still not clear what happened there.
Yeah, do we want to talk a little bit about that? Because I think it was Ola who saw something very strange happen. From the pilot's seat. What did you see? What happened?
Right. So yeah. Was it Vam Fam who was in MI space, I
MI
believe?
space,
And
yeah.
so you had a whole different view of it. But from where I was standing, Wanda was, hit, was about to go down from the space kraken tentacles that were broaching too far. The ship does go down, functionally, goes down to 0 levels. But then a strange blue energy sort of sparked up and around areas of the ship, and it sort of came back on just to functional again in a way that is unlike anything Ola has ever seen and is extremely mysterious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Atash also had a special encounter too. What happened there?
Are we talking about when I yelled at Wanda?
Mm-hmm. And then someone yelled back.
Yeah, that was wild and unexpected, and I don't know what happened. Suddenly, one second I was talking to Wanda, and I was encouraging her to stand back up and help us all out, and that went okay. And then I tried to encourage her a little more and started yelling. Something very strange happened.
A young voice, right? A very non-Wanda voice. A young voice was asking for our help.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that is where we're picking up today. Basically, you had working together with this other Rornan on this this greenhouse flower sort of shaped space station ship. Vam was able to connect with this other Rornan who you had learned their name was Kazda. And together you had shared this telepathic link and been able to communicate that this space beast was after this specific plant on board this ship. So the other station had ejected that into space, and just like that, the Kraken had pulled away from attacking both you and the space station to chase off after this tree and sort of disappears, seemingly satiated by what just happened here. So that comes back to all of you who right now are floating on board Wanda, who is still functioning. I mean, you see, you've gone into like emergency power at this point, so it's all like the backup system, so minimal life support, and everything is kind of cast in this like red glow of the emergency lights going off. But somehow, even though you know that Wanda's MI was damaged and dropped down to 0, things are still functioning. And if you look out at that view screen there, you can see now that the greenhouse ship it looks fine still. I mean, the lights have been turned back on now that power has been diverted once again towards the greenhouse ship. And here you all are. I think the last thing we had done, Vam had exited out of MI space. So all of you are just sort of standing here with this, and the red blinking lights. Oh, gosh, I totally forgot. Before we actually dive in, we have to go over our story path notes, because last time we ended right at that 2-hour mark. So before we actually begin the game, we have to go over from last time. Did anybody feel like they hit a story beat or moment that we need to address? Yes! Darcy, tell us about it.
Why, a mystery's afoot.
A mystery!
Yes, very exciting. So Ola's story path currently is a mystery, and the first step in that story path is already unlocked, and that is the question.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what is up with these strange files, seemingly locked up, many files locked up in the databanks of Wanda. And previous attempts at getting at them were soundly rebuffed. But now we have a little more information that Wanda is indeed not all that she seems. And so what I have as the next step is a clue.
Mm-hmm. You have a few of those.
All that. Very cool. So what's really fun about this is, so you find a clue that gets you closer to the answer to your question. And because mysteries are so open-ended, there's going to be a bunch of these steps that will probably look very different. So what we need to decide is whether it is a material clue that I discovered, that we all discovered, or whether it's a testimonial cue. And that changes whether I get to add, increase the die size of mental or social. And I kind of feel like there's this new entity, this new voice, and what we're learning is sort of through Wanda, the person. So I'm leaning sort of testimony, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to that we now know there's a person who's has information that we need.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Cool.
Sounds good. So, so you're increasing the size of a social die?
Yes,
Very cool.
So I'm gonna do Suave because
Ooh.
I think I used Suave to try to coax some
Wanda
extra oomph out of Wanda.
Yeah,
last
definitely.
time.
You
Make
need a lot of
success.
suave to successfully pilot Wanda.
Yeah, it's a
So,
D4, so it'll be a D6 now.
Very, very cool. Any other moments that we wanted to address? Oh, okay. Then here we are on the ship. Rah, 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 rah. Little emergency sounds going off, red lights all around you. What are you doing?
So the other ship that the Kraken was attacking, it looks more like a space station, right? Like it's pretty big.
It is pretty big. You could definitely dock your ship on to this. It's not like your full-on space station, but this ship is definitely somewhere in between a full-on space station and just like a little ship like yours.
Definitely Lou calls out that we should try to dock there and see about getting some repairs made, because we've got two hull breaches that were like patched, but I think we need actual repairs to be space worthy again, right?
Yeah, and your MI health is down to 1, which requires full repairs to go ahead and crank that baby back up.
And one of the breaches isn't sealed. We just closed off that part of the ship. So two of us, I don't remember who the two of us on the starboard side are, whose cabins those are, but you two will be sleeping in the lounge tonight.
Yeah, one was mine, and I didn't say it last time, but in my head I was like, Raindrop definitely just like phased through a wall as soon as stuff went down. Like Raindrop is fine. Don't you dare put Raindrop in trouble.
Raindrop is totally
for sure.
Yeah. Actually, let's go over and look into our map section here. Let's have poor Wanda in front of us. So here we go. Gameplay screen. Whoa, we did it. It's magic. We're just looking at Burning Daylight. Let's get over this. Wanda. Or I guess here, this one will show us where we were after combat. Oh no, there's tentacles everywhere.
Tentacles.
No. Oh, let me delete them. Oh no. Okay. Whew, we're fine. We're fine now.
Okay.
So that's us.
So silly.
I live for this, the thrill. Yes. So yeah, Wanda was damaged on the starboard side here. I believe that's the zone that we just sealed up. And then we did manage to repair the fore near zone. We put a patch on that, but it will definitely need some further additional repairs here. So
the station itself seems like it could use many hands working on repairs there as well. We should team up together and cut time in half.
Yeah.
Good idea. Let's bring her in.
Absolutely.
Gently navigate Wanda over, or whoever it is that's inside here. I'm very suspicious. We haven't heard anything else yet, have we? Voice-wise?
You have not.
Is Wanda unresponsive?
Is that you asking Wanda?
No, I'm asking the crew because I've been inside Wanda, so to me, he's fine.
Right.
But I don't know what they've experienced.
Wanda was not acting like herself.
Hopefully, repairs will help.
I don't think Lou has experienced any of the weirdness with Wanda. So when they hear Vam Fam say is Wanda unresponsive, Lou does call out like, Wanda, are you responsive?
Yeah, and you get sort of like a garbled noise back at you over the loudspeaker.
Oh, that's alarming.
With the dock.
That does not bode well.
Oh.
And Ola maybe be ready to take her in manually, if you know what I mean.
Like old times. All right.
Ah, yes. Back.
Never mind.
Before the MI days. Yeah, and there does seem to be enough power. You go to like sort of tentatively steer the ship forward, and there is enough power. You feel the engines flicker. Definitely low energy, but enough as you start moving in towards this ship here. And you do see, in terms of docking, you saw that the tree was expelled from sort of these. There's like the bottom kind of rounded part of the ship here, and you had seen just like this hole kind of open up in the side and swing around. So you're guessing that's like the docking point on the ship. Yeah, so just steering it towards the. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm probably a little lopsided just because the ship's handling very differently with
Mhm.
half our side kind of
Mhm.
tore up and a tentacle sort of, wiggling around in some engine.
Yeah, why don't
but
you
we
go?
make it, I think.
Yeah,
Or
why don't you go ahead and give me a skill check here, just to make this manual. So, what are you going to be using to like safely bring in this this sort of broke ship into
Yeah.
port?
Great question. I don't think it's anything social now. Wanda's, this is all manual. So I'm thinking engineering, which I'll warn you, I'm very bad at, or perhaps computers. I do like my smarts lab. Maybe I'm using kind of a computer overlay that's helping me kind of adjust my
Yeah.
manual control.
All right, yeah, I would definitely accept either of those. And I'll say, I mean, you do have a lot more time, and your ship is already pretty damaged, so, scraping it on the sides isn't going to do much.
Right.
So let's just do a complexity 2 just to see if you can make this work.
Sounds
Okay.
good. And that's a pass.
There you go. So yeah, you do. It's a little bit of a bumpy ride, but you manage to pull up alongside this spaceship here, and you do see with some kind of reaction to your proximity, this swirling circular door does open up on the ship, and you can see a loading bay on the inside. So you manage to navigate Wanda in there, and this space that you land in, it's pretty much like a big kind of warehouse space. You can see that there are a couple other smaller ships that have been parked inside, and these ships are like, maybe 1 or 2 people could man them, like little fighter or scout ships. But they do look very odd. They look very organic, sort of like twisted, almost tree trunks. If you had to guess exactly what they were. So these 2 things are parked here. And you do see that there is a larger set of doors that leads up to a stairway. And basically just as you bring down the ship, you see a couple individuals coming down the stairs here. So Vam, you immediately sense the presence, of course, of Kazda as they come down the stairs, swarming towards your ship. And then you also see one of these flower people who... I'm going to go ahead and pull up a little photo so everybody can see just exactly what. Cool plant people. So these beings are known as the Zzhure, and they have such sweet kicks. So I really wanted to look at these sweet
I
kicks.
love them.
Yeah, they're so fashionable.
Dope.
Yeah, so they have these big kind of flower heads, and each one that you see has a different petal pattern and colors, but they are sort of these amalgamations of twisted vines in a vaguely humanoid shape. So one of these beings, the one that you recognize as having talked to you during your interaction, so with these palish kind of pink petals, is trailing down after the Rornan, who is coming to meet your ship. So you can see them from outside. So if you would like to exit, they're definitely waiting for you.
As soon as I feel the Rornan, we just hoard out.
Yeah. Swarms out of the ship. And there is, what does a Rornan greeting look like? Do you want to tell me about that?
Yes, I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
I feel like it looks like a little mini tornado or miasma of bugs kind of swirling around each other. Kind of like get their scent, feel where they've been, kind of meld minds for a second, and to really forge that bond in case we do want to do that Rornan network again in the future. We connect once more, and then we separate and come back to our forms.
Yeah, and I think you just sense complete delight from Kazda, as you will also get the sense that it has been a very long time since they've seen another Rornan. So this is just a delight. And what are the rest of you? What's the play here?
Do we know anything about these Zzhure people?
You want to make me some kind of maybe? I don't know. Probably. Do you think Atash would know something? Is this someone who's studied or read about maybe online? Or...
It's possible. I mean, do they have any kind of presence in the inner systems at all?
It's a little complicated, so why don't you go ahead?
Okay.
I'll definitely tell you something, but if you would like to make
Okay.
a skill check to see just how
Yeah,
much
I'll
you
make a
know.
knowledge check, and I imagine honestly for Atash, unless they are in, unless they've come through the Drite system at some point, he probably fairly high complexity, because I don't know that he spent a ton of time studying other cultures that he
Yeah.
wasn't immediately surrounded by, that
Sure.
they weren't immediately surrounded by.
Yeah, so why don't you give me a complexity 3 to get the full story? It would be a complexity
Yeah, I bet that.
3.
All right, let's see. Here we go. I am not on the chat, so I'm not going to see what the result is. Here we go. Hey, all right.
Nice. Okay. So I think you have heard of the Zzhure before. They're somewhat infamous, just based on their past. So the Zzhure used to be a very powerful species during the War Bryte, in particular, because their species used to all be sort of similar to the Roran. They used to all be psychically connected by this great being called the Mother Tree. So they were all kind of linked by this tree and controlled by the tree to some degree. And with this, they conquered a ton of worlds, just like this vicious rampage across Olaxis, where they conquered and then ruled over a ton of different worlds, including the Eno. And it was the Eno who were largely responsible for, in a final assault, they basically burned down the Mother Tree and destroyed it and totally broke like the Zzhure, stranglehold on Alaxis. So since then,
the moral of this story is don't be a hive mind creature in Olaxis.
it's hard.
Don't do
here. But the Roran were chill. The Zzhure were definitely not chill.
Well, I just meant because at some point somebody's gonna kill your mom, and everything's gonna break.
It's gonna be rough,
mind, and it's gonna be bad.
Yeah. So the when this happened, basically the fallout from this Mother Tree destroyed most of the Zzhure. A bunch of them couldn't even handle like the psychic severance, and a huge amount of them was just wiped out. So there were these survivors kind of left and scattered around, and so now they don't have any real centralized power, and they're sort of a broken species. And so, you'll find maybe one or two individuals at a time, kind of doing their own thing, just trying to look for a place to survive. Some groups, some criminal groups are trying to like restore the Mother Tree. There are rumors of that. And then some groups are, trying to salvage what was lost or just make up for what their species did, all the the war crimes that they committed. So the Zzhure are sort of they're complicated, and I think you've probably heard tales of that don't paint them in such a great light, I would say now, because what their atrocities are still pretty fresh in the minds of a lot of sapients.
I think in that case, Atash anyway is going to sort of keep a close eye on the Zzhure around, because obviously Vam Fam is excited to talk to this Roran, and I just don't want anything to happen to them while.
Yeah. Okay, so you're sort of cautiously moving off the ship, sort of what I'm.
Yeah, and not making it obvious that like I haven't, like I'm Atash ain't gonna do the talking this time around.
Mm-hmm.
Lou is definitely very excited to be here.
Yeah.
Lou, like as soon as they're able, is like off the ship and ready to meet anyone who wants to talk to them and wants to know more about the tree they saw in their vision and like the other greenery in the ship. Is immediately, should I roll to see if like Lou would have known this stuff, or can we say like Atash probably told us all, gave us the rundown?
Yeah, do you think Atash would have kind of been
for sure, because usually Atash and Lou would have a very similar reaction to new folks, I think.
Yeah.
But
Atash is maybe like, hey, just some things you should know before you get off the ship.
Yeah, some things I've heard. Look, I'm the last person that's going to give anybody like a sociology lesson on anyone but Zzhure. However,
I think probably Lou, because I know there is some stuff about driftlings where like some cultures don't trust them because they can like take on the appearance of other people, and it's very taboo to like just like fully take on the full appearance of someone else.
Yeah.
But there are cultures who are like, oh, driftlings, like those shape changers. So probably Lou is very much in the headspace of like, I get it. There are people who make assumptions about me too. Like, but I want to meet you. I want to know everything about you. And I have a physical need to understand what's happening on this spaceship right now with all of these plants and that giant spiral fruit tree that you just threw into space to get rid of a space kraken. Please tell me everything.
Yes. And
I also did just realize.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was just gonna say. I just realized as you were saying that, Lou, that part of I think why Atash it might be a little bit more primed to take the stories and the history into account in their reaction is I think Atash has only just figured out how to conceptualize Vam Fam with a bunch of individual organisms like sharing a mind and in Atash's mind sort of doing what they're told, which is not the Zzhure way.
Yeah.
And so now there's a whole other, and it was a tree, so why are you letting a tree tell you what to? So I think that's sort of why Atash couldn't get past it, but maybe Luke could.
And what is Ola doing? What's sort of the reaction here?
Yeah, I think we see Ola sort of drape some little chitinous fingers along the edge of Wanda as he's leaving, but he comes out with a sort of half shattered vase of some kind of lavender liquid that got broken off and a bunch of little cups. And Ola's here to diffuse any situation that has happened with something to drink. I'm not sure how that works for the flower people, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, and you all kind of come off of this ship here as you see Vam and Kazda sharing this greeting, and this Zzhure, regards you all for a moment, and then sort of makes a thoughtful expression, and then says, "Thank you for what you did. It was, well, extremely well timed that you arrived when you did. Welcome to the rhizome. I'm sorry. My name is Rosette. What are all of your names?"
Hi, Rosette. I'm Lou, and it's so nice to meet you. And check out the rhizome.
Yes. Well, thank you and welcome. I wish it was in a bit of a better state to show you, but as you can see, it's been a rough day.
I'm Ola, and I'm sure we can get through the rest of this day together.
Thank you, Ola. And you, my friend, and looks at Atash. Oh, muted. I was like, you.
Yep.
Silent treatment. No.
It's right. No, not quite. Nothing threatening so far. They seem genuinely grateful. So, my name is Atath.
It is a pleasure to meet you. If you would like, Kazda, and I'm so sorry. Is your name? Muted.
We are over to you and me.
We are Vam Fam.
It is a pleasure to meet you. Your ship will be safe here. If you would like to come upstairs, perhaps we can certainly have that. And she points a hand, and you see like growing off the end of her fingers is like a little leaf on each that she kind of points out. We can serve that, and perhaps we can find you something to eat. Let's see. She goes through, what do you eat? We certainly have metal for you, Vam Fam. We have a variety of plants available.
I take them both.
Oh, excellent. Well, then
I hope it's not rude to ask, what do you eat?
We subsist on a nutritional diet that helps us grow healthy and strong. It's a mixture of our own concoction, sort of some dirt and minerals and some lovely little infusions to go with it, boosters and such.
Atash is a little disappointed because they definitely said they had plants for food, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, okay, finally somebody who understands. Like a dead body is just waiting to be used for something else." But then they said the thing about the mineral soup, and now they're disappointed.
Oh, sad.
So you have different plants for eating.
Yes. Well, that's sort of what we do here. We engineer crops. Let me show you, please. And she starts to make her way up the ramp here. And meanwhile, Vam, I think you are having probably a whole other conversation that's happening with Kazda as you all are walking. And Kazda is reaching out to you and basically asking, what you're doing here. What are you doing on this ship, like in the outer rims of space? What's going on? Like,
Yeah, and I feel like when two Ronan or just Ronan are speaking with each other, it kind of happens extremely rapid fire.
oh yeah.
And yeah, we're quickly updating them on pretty much everything we've experienced as a crew. Like, we've come from Olaxis, or no, we came from
Ozobni.
Ozobni.
Yeah.
Ozobni, we witnessed cults kidnapping people. And one of them was actually a Ronan themselves. I was stunned to see it. I'm so glad that we came across each other and that we're here to help you. Hopefully you can help us with our ship. We are happy that we arrived just in time, and I'd love to speak more about what we can do to help each other in the future.
Oh yeah, and Kazda is definitely taking all of this in as you're led out of this main ship bay, and you come to the lower decks of this ship, and it seems pretty basic in structure on the inside, but immediately as you step into these hallways, you are overcome with the humidity of this ship. It's like walking through a jungle, even though you're walking down, these metallic hallways as you pass through a few of these doors here. And then she leads you into this large central space. And here you can see that there are tables that have been set up. There's counters that seem to have a lot of different lab equipment all stacked around them. So this looks like a very well equipped scientific laboratory. And you can see that there are big windows that look in onto that central chamber that you saw either in the vision or down through that sort of multicolored glass. And inside is just the most magnificent atrium greenhouse space that you have ever seen. You all probably recognize like species of plants from your home world, hidden amongst these gems, but then also all of these strange alien plants and species that are just amazing, vines and trees and crops and little beds full of like different colored vegetables, and it's fascinating to behold. And here you can see that the condensation is like building up on the glass, and that room is clearly the source of all of this moisture in the air. And your guide at this point, Rosette, she points around at the tables and, I will get the rest of the crew. I'm sure they would be delighted to meet you. But perhaps, Kazda, you can catch them up to speed maybe on what we're doing here and perhaps how we can help. I will be right back with refreshments. And at this point, Kazda, sort of detaches from you, Vam, and forms kind of a humanoid shape and says, "Yes, I can certainly do that for you. Welcome, as we said, to the rhizome. It is highly fortunate that you came here when you did. I am so sorry to see all of the damage that has been done to your vessel."
We empathize greatly with the damage done to your own. How many beings are on this ship?
Altogether, there are 12 of them and me. Everyone here on the ship is Zzhure except for me. I have come here because I am interested in studying the way they psychically connected so long ago, and they have been gracious hosts to have me on board this vessel.
Do you know if any of the Zzhure on board are engineers of any kind? We need some repairs done to our ship before we can leave, and really hoping that someone here can help with that.
Well, you are certainly in luck. This is a crew full of scientists, most of them in the vein of bioengineering. Their mission here is to, well, as you can see, studying these crops and finding alternative food sources and general food science is sort of their mission here. They're hoping to feed the hungry, I believe, is something they say quite frequently and poetically. But even so, with that biological bent in mind, I'm sure one of them would be able to help you with your ship. They do have some amazing technology that powers their own vessel. It is quite strange.
Atosh is starting to turn around on these folks because they sound like farmers. Now this is maybe something that they can relate to.
This operation is quite impressive, but I've never heard of its like. Is this a secretive, private-backed mission, or?
I believe they are one of the only functioning units of the Zzhure to do this. I had certainly never heard anything of the like, and I was intrigued when I heard of their work. I know they have received several grants from different planets, but I think this is mostly an independent operation. And
Is that why they're so far out in the middle of space?
Yes.
Nowhere? There's nothing near here. I mean, I know it's space and that's like space's whole deal, but also just like it's especially true in this case.
Yeah, it's not orbiting anything, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just kind of floating out here.
here.
It seems for some reason that people are highly suspicious of the Zzhure, so they find it more comfortable to operate out here.
Lou doesn't look at Atash, but there you can tell that they want to.
the twitch.
That Atash might be a little bit turning away from Lou in particular, but at least they have the good grace to like feel genuinely bad about it. Like, okay, you're right.
And I think at this point, the doors open once again, and Rosette steps into the room, flanked by two more of these beings here. So you see that one has like these kind of golden yellow petals, sort of like a sunflower. And then the other one doesn't actually have any like pretty pink petals or anything like that. It's just sort of this spiky growth all along the sides of their head in this tight sort of conical shape. And these beings step into the room here. And Rosette speaks to you again. These are, our lead scientists. We're hoping that we can offer some kind of help here. This is Bud and Anther. And they step forward, and Anther is the one with sort of the sunflower petals, who sits down at the table, and then Bud is the spiky headed individual. You loving these names or hating these names?
No, loving.
Living
They're
for
so
them.
good.
They're so good.
I definitely love these names. Sorry, I'm trying to control my face.
I know, same. Oh no, I'm not trying to control my face. I'm just trying to keep relatively quiet.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Also, everybody, we're only $28 from giving away another copy
Ooh.
of Burn Bryte, so get in here. Let's make it happen. Let's make a raffle happen. Pa, 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 pa. So all of these Zzhure sit down at the table, and you learn pretty quickly that Anther is in charge of genetics, and does a lot of the genetic modification and just study of DNA of all of these plants. And then Bud is sort of like the mechanical specialist on the ship, so he built a lot of the technology that you see here, and he sort of seems to be the one most interested in helping you with your ship. So he does speak up and says, I heard that you had some kind of issue with your vessel. I would be more than happy to take a look at it. I don't know if our technology will be entirely compatible, but, well, we can assess the damage. Is there any among you who is particularly skilled in repair or ship functions that could walk me through it?
We are particularly familiar with the inner workings of our Wanda. We could help guide you through her mechanics.
Oh, you have an MI?
Indeed.
Interesting. It has been a while since I've worked with a traditional MI, but perhaps I can offer some aid still.
That would be very helpful. She seems to be a little bit tired or absent at the moment, so a new pair of eyes would be a great help.
I understand completely. Well, I'm ready to look now, unless anyone else needs anything. Yeah.
It's Bud that's doing the repair work.
Mm-hmm. The spiky one.
Okay. I think Atesh will we'll let Bud and Vam Fam, if they're gonna go. What are the rest of us gonna do? How long do we think this is gonna take? I mean, she was torn open in 2 places.
Yeah. Anther, the sunflower-headed one, says, well, yeah, I mean, it's sort of a super bummer that that's happened, but I mean, I'd be happy to, I could show you around the ship, and we could, I don't know, give you a tour or set you up with quarters. I mean, in the meantime, I if the damage is as bad as it looked, you're probably going to be here for a little bit.
Not mincing words, are we, Anther? All right.
It's not one of my specialties, no.
That's okay. I appreciate that. I really do. I do somehow.
So we're all scientists here, if you can't tell, so we don't have people over very often. She says cheerfully. She looks at
Ooh, I know that feeling. Anyway, I mean, I don't know about you two, Ola and Lou, but I would love a tour. I find this fascinating. I mean, I have a lot of questions about some of your recycling systems here on this station, but yes, I would love a tour.
Oh, yes, I would love to talk to you about recycling. Most of our ship here, and she kind of pats the general ship, well, it's sort of built after our own biological function, so it's extraordinarily interesting. Well, at least we think.
It does seem like it would be a pretty self-sufficient in terms of, sort of you reusing nutrients and sort of conserving energy, but I can almost guarantee you that there might be ways to sort of supplement the natural order of things. Anyway, I'm talking on. I'm sorry, I'm blathering.
She gets so excited, and she's like, let's go! And then she'll, like, start walking, and then be like, oh, and, like, kind of wait for Ola.
Before we get too far, I think my blip would like some food, if you have any.
Oh, yeah. And she, looks at the blip, who, what do you think Raindrop is doing in this situation? What would be the personality move? Because I think Raindrop has gotten really comfortable around you. So are they one of those creatures that's like, oh, I'm with my master, this is all my space? Or are they nervous by a new place?
I think probably Blip trusts Lou enough to sort of like take their cues from Lou. Mm-hmm. So since Lou is sort of in here and is like, all right, we're here now, let's see what there is to see. Raindrop is also just sort of like not venturing too terribly far away from Lou, but has definitely been like in every corner of this room to like sniff around and like see what's up. As like Bud and Anther came in, Lou was like right up, or Raindrop was right up in their business, like sniffing them, like trying to get the lay of the land a little bit. So they're definitely not getting too far away from Lou because it is an unfamiliar place, but they're definitely like, yeah, tell me everything. I'm here now and I want to know.
Yeah, I think every time Raindrop gets close to one of the Zzhure, they sort of go, ooh, and their like little leaves like go to cover their mouth and they're like, ooh. I think Raindrop clearly makes them a little bit nervous for whatever reason.
Oh, when Lou sees that, Lou will sort of like Raindrop in a little bit, just sort of like, oh, I'm sorry, do you not like blips?
Oh,
are you...
no, it's got 4 legs. It's, it doesn't eat plants, does it?
Oh, mostly they eat meat.
Oh, okay, that's fine. No, we can definitely find something. Let's, just checking, and, hell?
Does Lou actually know for sure what Raindrop eats? I mean, at this point, they must, I guess.
So far, Raindrop has eaten everything you've given them, so...
Oh, no. So Lou definitely tries to keep Raindrop very close to their side to make sure that they don't try to chomp at one of the Zzhure.
Raindrop lets out a happy yip. Raindrop seems to like when other creatures fear it. You don't know. It's just it's got like a small dog complex for sure. Raindrop is, king of the roost here. So yeah, definitely Anther will sort of lead you all out into this kind of an adjoining, you would say it would be a kitchenette, but as you're looking, it really does just look like another lab. You see that there are lots of like these pots full of soil and like faucets in this room and sort of glass canisters and containers. They're like, well, this is where we usually eat, but I don't think no. And she's going through like all of these different solutions of different colors and like moving the dirt and is like, maybe we should just sample from the gardens themselves. Yes, that would be better. She just keeps opening cupboards and it's like, nope. So she leads you out of this kitchenette again, and you see these glass doors in front of you here that lead into this greenhouse area. And she opens up the doors and they slide quietly. And again, just the heat and the smells that come to you. The smell of both wet earth, but then also all of these exotic arrays of sweet and spicy and just so this wave of exotic flavors and smells moves over you as you step into this beautiful room. And you see now that you're on the inside of it, you can look up at that stained glass structure that you saw from the outside here. And indeed, all of these panes are like different color bits of glass. And as you watch them, they change and oscillate in colors. So it's like this rhythm of colors that moves across with these different kind of lights that are shining down onto the plants here. So you're not sure if there's any rhyme or reason, but it's incredible being in this space. And I think she'll leave you basically to shop around for whatever you want to eat. And so I'll get back to you in a minute after we visit Vam on the other side. But decide what you find to eat in this greenhouse. And then Vam. So Bud stands up and, sort of walks with you out back towards the ship bay. And I think Kazda will also come with you. They seem very attached to you now that you are here.
Yay, friends.
Yeah. And Bud's like, well, this is probably gonna be a mess, but I guess let's look at the damage. I'm not sure, honestly, how much is broken on our own ship, though the self-repair function should be kicking in quite soon, so a lot of that damage will heal, but... and he walks into the bay and kind of looks at your ship, and he goes... Wow.
It is indeed severe. We could potentially use any spare metal that you can spare. Weld it to block up that breach. It is currently being held together by, as you can see, severed tentacle.
That's what that is.
Yes.
Well, we can compost that, so that's good. He kind of like walks up and pokes the tentacle residue in there, and he's like, yeah, that's oh boy. Okay.
Perhaps grill it if you have some sort of citrus plant on board.
Grill the tent for maybe for you. We could do that. I see. Okay. And this, so you said your MI took some hits. Maybe we should get in and look at that.
Absolutely. I shall lead the way.
Of course.
Take him over to the MI Jack.
Yeah. And he's like, well, it looks like power is still on, but, MI? I'm sorry.
Her name is Wanda.
Oh. Wanda! Can you communicate Could you?
Wanda, are you there?
Yeah, that's not good. That she's okay, but the power's on, so this is just very strange. And this flower person sits down in the chair and starts doing the interface going on in here, and he's like, "Yeah, this is really weird. There's like looks like there's some kind of backup system here. Can you take a look at this? Is this normal?"
I don't know. Is it normal? Computer check?
Yeah. Let's do maybe a complexity 3 as you're he's looking at all of these files that he's pulling up on your system that look very odd.
Okay.
Ooh. So you're looking at these, and from what you can tell, what it looks like is that there are 2 simultaneous MI programs running at the same time is basically what it looks like here. So it's kind of weird. Your screen is like doubled on all sides. So it's like, if you were looking at a Windows computer, like the screen is put into one left section and then there's an identical screen on the right side. So there seem to be 2 interfaces here. And he's like, and you're looking at it, you're like, whoa, that's bananas. I don't know what that is. He's like, yeah, that's some kind of glitch or something.
Perhaps. I too have yet to come across such a strange sort of backup system. Maybe perhaps I should re-enter the MI space?
Well, and he kind of looks like at the MI jack. That's all just none of the lights or anything are functioning on there. Well, maybe. Though, I don't know. Maybe we should try to restore some power. I'm a little bit nervous. I didn't think this was possible to run 2 MIs. But honestly, I don't know what would happen if you went in there.
Is there any way of allowing one file to take over command of this ship?
Unfortunately, that's not something I would be able to do. You're probably a little bit more qualified than I am to run something like that.
All right. Well, let's begin with your suggestion of restoring some power first before we start opening and shutting down files.
Agreed. And he'll follow you, to look back at the engines, which there's clearly some damage going on here, some overblown stuff. He's like, let me tell you what, I don't know if we're gonna be able to repair this as it is, but let me look around and maybe some of our tech could be adapted to your ship. It would certainly work for, where are you going? How many days do you need? What are we looking at?
How long have we been flying so far?
Traveling for like 6 days, I think.
And it was a 2-week ride,
17, yeah.
Okay, so we have at least another 2 weeks or so left to travel. Say we don't come across another space kraken, but but we have quite a bit left to go, and we are going to be entering some hostile territory in that process.
Oh, okay. So you need something pretty substantial. Okay. Yeah, well, all right. I'll do what I can. Maybe I can. Well, our ship runs on sort of a interesting organic well, let me see. But definitely this is going to take a couple days at best to repair all of this.
Understood. Perhaps if there's any way you could meld or include that wonderful self-healing tech that your ship has, that sounds like just about the best thing we've ever heard.
Oh, Okay, I'll do my best.
Let me know what we can do to help you.
Sure. I mean, we owe you our lives. Not, let alone our mission and our projects. All the research we've done here would have been just destroyed if that creature got through. So we are certainly committed to doing everything we can. We might have to do some creative jiggering here to make this work.
Your payment is unnecessary but extremely appreciated, and we would have stopped for any small favor. We're here to help those in need.
Oh, that's a rare thing, especially for a bunch of Zzhure. So, thanks. I think let's bounce over to the Garden of Delights, where we find everyone. So what do you find in this garden to feed yourselves? Jess, why don't we start with you? What do you find for Lou and Raindrop to enjoy in this greenhouse?
I imagine Lou probably eats a lot, since they're probably burning a lot of calories, constantly changing their body.
Oh, yeah.
So Lou is gonna look for like the biggest and like heartiest vegetables they can find. So I don't know, mushrooms and like gourds and just anything. Anything that just is like, really, really hearty that can really like carry them over. And we'll probably give Raindrop a little bit of just like anything they can find. Just like as they're going through. We'll also spend plenty of time like looking at signs and stuff, because they did say this ship, the purpose of the space station was essentially to like feed everyone, but we'll still just like check signs and things and try to make sure they're not giving Raindrop anything that might be poisonous to them.
But
Lou's just looking for like the biggest, heartiest things.
Yeah, and as you look around too, Anther is very good about being like, oh, well, I know that's poisonous to that one kind of four-legged creature. That one is poisonous to some four-legged creatures. And that one, she'll point, and each time she like nervously covers her face again with these leaves. You can tell that this must be like a sapient thing. They all do this, kind of hiding up their flowers, like go in a little bit, and they get nervous.
Oh my gosh, cute.
Atash, what do you find to eat?
I don't know that Atash has any interest in food right now, because he would much rather chat with Anther about the irrigation systems and the cycling. I mean, all of the now I'm going to make them a thumb about outer space, sci-fi, physics, and biology here. But
I'm also I know nothing about hydroponics, so let's have this two actors talking about hydroponics.
Fantasy, science fantasy.
It's gonna sound great to everyone but Darcy.
Yep, Darcy's like.
But just about everything, about cycling the oxygen out with all of these plants that are producing all of that. I mean, it's about balance, of course, and then the irrigation, and then how do you deal with sort of, the decomposers of the particular ecosystem? Because yes, on the one hand, they're very nutritious and you're able to eat them, but then I don't suppose that really matters. And just going.
Yeah, and she is so happy to talk to you about this stuff. And you feel like she doesn't get to explain a lot, because the same, 12 people she lives with have heard it over and they all know. So she talks a lot about, since you seem so interested, especially in, the recycling facilities and how basically every part of this ship is used somewhere else. And, there's just the constant like flow and exchange of oxygen and nutrients that's going along, because actually part of the ships and the engine of the ship is built like an organic plant. So it takes in the light and then provides, oxygen for the rest, funding this. And that's actually why it's built like those petals out there, or these giant solar panels that harness star energy that turns into food and resources that they use to like make this greenhouse function. So she's like, it's all self-sustaining, and she's like, this is not good. Loves it.
And I think as the conversation goes on, like Atash starts with what I just did, like just going. But then as Anther starts talking about the systems and things, like I think Atesh just gets very quiet and just listens.
Aw.
And we'll ask questions here and there. They're not silent, but like
Mhm.
the amount of talking just plummets once Anther starts explaining
Mhm.
things. Just
Okay.
also thinking like, how can we improve this? How can we improve this?
Yeah. And then Ola, what do you find? What is a Cthulhu? I think there are definitely some plants from the Cthulhu homeworld,
That is
which
exactly
is
what Ola is
destroyed. So this
deep
is
in right now. Glittering mimosoids. Mimosas are real life plants that are sort of sensitive to touch and sort of react when you touch them. These are more like pearls of a kind of succulent beads, but if you hum while you ingest them, they'll sort of wriggle down into all your little stomach bits and esophagus, and it's a great feeling. So you sort of hum and eat them, and it's an absolute delicacy. But I'm very curious. There's a lot of genetic engineering. Does this taste just like the authentic thing that I've sort of been told about or had on rare occasions, or are some of these plants modified more extremely?
I think a lot of that, I think the science would be there to replicate exactly what it was, but I think that's more of an experience that Ola would find. Do you think these taste like your home world? Are they as good, or does this taste like an imitation? I think this might be more of a mental thing for Ola.
Yeah, I think it's that where I've spent the most time is actually not from the home world and not really near it. And so I think there's been drift in our sort of plant species and the way we prepare them. And so I think it's a little uncanny valley. So I'm still enjoying the heck out of it. It's better than nutrient packs. I'll take it any day. But it's maybe the authentic thing is a little uncanny for them. So
Yeah.
but yeah, Ola's definitely listening to all this talk about especially piquing their interest when mechanics of the ship's function are sort of brought up. Occasionally piping in about, no, I don't know, would Ola have ever really been on a ship that hasn't been powered by machine intelligence?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean,
Magic
this is
intelligence?
technology that's definitely been, at least the last 100 years, everybody have been, using this, or this has been coming to the forefront ever since, AI was tanked. So maybe not 100 years, but definitely multiple decades. And before that, everything was just fueled by plasma, which was just dumping raw magic power which was extremely wasteful. That's why MIs kind of, stepped into the picture. But I don't think Ola would have ever been on a ship not with a traditional engine like this. This is very weird. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I think also when you do go up to these plants, Anther gets delighted that you're picking these. She's like, oh, good. That's from our seed vault program. So we have worked so hard to get seeds from all different planets and systems. So how is it? How did we do?
Perfect. Everything is perfect. It's just like being back home. You did wonderful. This is a truly special place that you've built, and how you've built it.
And her petals just like radiate outwards, making this like giant happy sunflower face as she looks at you. And she's like, that is so good to hear. Gosh, it has been hard to track down some of these plants. Because we have to have the originals before we can clone them here. So it is. We've been doing our best to get everything from the worlds that have been destroyed. A big part of what we want to do here is, I mean, there's so much suffering out there. The least we can do is grow these plants and perhaps give people a reminder of home. Yeah. Anyway, sure. Why don't we grab? We sort of have our spice plants, and she indicates like over here, and we do have basic kitchen capabilities. I think that would suit your needs if you want to grab some of those. And I'm sorry I can't cook anything for you. I think it would be better if you did it yourselves, just as a favor to you.
why we can handle ourselves, I'm sure.
Sure. So if you want to shop around for some like garlics and nice spices, you can take your haul back to that main like kitchenette area.
Yeah, as we do so, do we see any evidence of this ship healing itself? Right, there are presumably good chunky tentacle gashes somewhere in the ship where it was trying to get in.
Yeah.
Is that an active process, or is it kind of slow?
Sure. And if you ask her about it too,
Mm-hmm.
she'll say, "Well, we are waiting for our solar stores to replenish here. We lost quite a bit of energy trying to defend that creature, but once they are full up, we will shut down the dome, and you can see that repair happen. It's pretty extraordinary. I would love to let you all see it when it does happen." Yeah, and she'll leave you to your business. And she'll kind of sit down at the table and sort of like curiously, if you're having a cooking party in there, she's definitely interested in what's going on. How are people with cooking? I think Ola cooks a lot of food. I assume. Yeah, total
Yes.
dad. Total dad.
Yeah, total dad.
But Atash and Lou, do you cook at all? What's your relationship with food?
I don't think I notice if it's cooked or not.
Mm.
I'm perfectly happy to eat cooked food, but I don't think it matters.
Yeah. You're like, lettuce, please. Okay.
Right.
Salt
yeah.
every layer. You have to salt every layer.
I feel like probably Atash wouldn't want salt, right?
Yeah, very bad.
Yep.
Very bad. Oh.
I think Lou not only loves cooking, but
Mm.
can cook like the signature dish of every culture they've ever come into contact
cute.
I
with.
love that.
That
Yes.
like definitely they're so interested in just like seeing everything, and because they do like change shape, like anyone they met they would have asked as part of like learning and changing their body, like please tell me like what are your comfort foods basically. So Lou can cook like comfort foods from just about any culture,
Oh,
can cook a
wow.
bunch of signature dishes, is an incredible cook. And like definitely as soon as they're like in the area where cooking is happening, like collected so many different spice plants, it was a little bit ridiculous. And like comes through and is like, all right, I got this, and is like, let's go. I'm making everything.
Does Lou have something? I just imagine for whatever reason that you have like a little, maybe a recipe box or like a scrapbook or like something where you collect,
Ooh.
like, because you get these like recipes from people. And do you have something like that? Or maybe it's even in your phone. You have like a, your Smart Slab app where you like store all of your recipes or something.
I think yeah, it's probably in the Smart Slab app, and it's probably organized like in pictures. So like it's basically like it looks like a huge like banquet of pictures that they've sort of like almost photoshopped together. And then if you like click on one of the food dishes, it gives you the recipe of that dish.
Oh, your food collage. I love it. Yeah. So I think you all get to cooking, and then Vam, after Bud basically, he goes very much into his own head. He's clearly started to think about what's happening here, so he kind of quiets down and just like leads you back in the direction of this kitchenette, and then kind of keeps walking, and like sort of scratching his buds
Mhm.
as he moves down
Well,
the hallway. Yeah.
As we're walking down, I would like to inquire, do you all perhaps from time to time drop off some of your products to other stations or ships or travelers or planets of any kind? Do you come in contact with people frequently or semi-frequently?
Well, we do when we can. We do need to resupply certain features that we can't grow here ourselves. I would say 90% of our operation is completely self-sustaining, but we do on occasion have to visit or trade with other individuals, especially too if we get a new lead for our seed vault. We do travel to remote and interesting locations from time to time. Why do you ask?
Would it be too much to request for you to relay a message, a sort of call to action?
No,
Ooh.
I suppose not. We do dock at various places. What is the message, or would you like to write something up for us, or?
Oh, I can do so. Yes. Let me get a pen and paper for you.
Mm. Oh, yeah, there should be some in the lab. But yeah, I'm sure we'd be happy. I mean, it's not. Wait, maybe you should give me the general message before I agree to it. That's a very good point. What would be the message? Just the basics.
The basics are my companions and I are headed to defeat and reclaim some unfortunately kidnapped citizens of peaceful territories that have been abducted to forcibly join a cult that is worshiping the Burn. And the Burn is and should be our common enemy. And if you are forcing others, innocent civilians, to join something that is our common enemy, you have sealed your own demise. The Burn does not discriminate against who it ignites or eliminates.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like a message we wholeheartedly agree with. Yeah. Maybe if you want to do a video recording or something, we can share that in a more powerful way. I think I can safely say none of us on board are gifted with oration as one of our special skills. So, if we could make this a video audio presentation of some kind.
Absolutely. I relish in the opportunity.
Great. Well, I'm gonna start, go to my draft board and see what I can do for your vessel, and you do that, and, we'll meet, and, yeah. And his, like, leaf hand is sort of bouncing as he's already wandering away down the corridor, in thought.
Yeah. And as they run away or walk away pensively, I want to, in the Rornan equivalent of like putting your hand on someone's shoulder, it's kind of like Kazda and I like just kind of half meld together. We're just kind of touching, and some of the insects kind of swirl around each other.
Hold
but
hands.
Yeah, exactly. It's like shoulder to shoulder kind of.
Love it.
And I'm sharing we come back to our fast talking, chittering insect language, where I'm telling them, remember the feeling, the power of when we were connected. We can have that once more. We need to find our other family and reunite. And when the time comes, we will be such a force to be reckoned with that we will eliminate these daylighters, and there will be whatever peace we can muster left while the Burn takes us all.
I agree with your statement wholeheartedly. My work here is almost concluded. In fact, probably concluded for now, considering the ship has to make its repairs. So if you would have me, I would be delighted to travel with you.
There's like a massive celebration within Vam. All of our insects, I think, just start vibrating together. Like, we're so thrilled. We're just like, incredible, incredible. We are thrilled to have you as one once again. When the time comes, we shall find more of our family and we will coalesce once again.
Indeed. Perhaps we can find a way to join our two consciousnesses in a more permanent fashion. That would be extraordinary. It would be a delight to live with another Rornan and perhaps make great scientific strides in that direction. I do consider myself something of an amateur biologist. Perhaps I could accomplish this task.
Incredible. Let us mold together.
Ha! she does, and swirls around. So you're like this big happy unit, I guess, when you open up the door. So for everyone else, Vam is like twice the size they usually are. And I think you can probably just tell them apart a little bit because Vam is sort of this purplish color, and I think Kazda is more of a green, sort of a jade color. So it's these two colors that you can kind of make out, the bugs intersecting, but different. Yeah, so you all are cooking with yourselves? Any conversation happening? Any information sharing in this moment as you're all chowing?
We will express that. First of all, I have requested to send out a call to action aid to help us with our quest because we are a small group, and we know that the Peacecraft who offered their help is another small group against a massive cult. So we need all the help we can get. We're going to be sending out that message, and it seems like there is another system within Wanda equally operating at full capacity alongside Wanda, and we aren't sure how to deal with it.
So, does that mean that is Wanda still there? Because he got real bad hurt when that Kraken attacked us. So is he okay?
It's possible that this file existed as a backup, and in the moment that Wanda was down, it resurfaced itself in order to restore power and functionality to the ship. Right now, it doesn't seem like it wants to go away, and Wanda doesn't seem to be responsive.
Interesting.
I will just say as a general note, it is impossible from what you know to have two MIs in one ship.
Right, yeah. But...
Or at least people thought it was.
She is
So
our
first of
special
all-
gal.
She's...
So I just want to say you're welcome for providing you the most interesting ship anywhere in Alaska.
Let's turn this around. Good
yes.
thing.
Silver lining.
Yes. Yes.
I bet
Good
if
work,
you had
Lou.
gone adventuring with anyone else, you wouldn't have had such a cool ship thing going on here. And I know that there's downsides to this too, but just want to put that out there. You're welcome for this adventure within our adventure.
Yes, Lou, it is truly a unique experience.
So what is this other MI like? I mean, who is he?
That is yet to be seen. It did not seem to respond any more than Wanda.
Well, did Bud say kind of give a timeline for how long he thought we'd be here?
Quite some time. We did mention that we had quite a journey ahead, so they are determined to give us as much oomph as they possibly can for our journey.
Well, that's very kind of them.
Do you think it would be possible to jack into MI space and see if we can talk to them, or do you think that would be too dangerous with what's supposed to be impossible, having two MIs in there?
Considering it's a situation most beings aren't familiar with, it is a high risk suggestion. We could, but I don't know if we should.
Well, high risk, high reward, though. I mean, we could get to know this whole other MI and maybe get some answers.
And there, I guess, depending on what Bud is able to do, what you and Bud are able to do, it might be the only way we can get in touch with Wanda.
And every day that we're not out there going toward the Inferna is another day that they might be sending those kidnapped folk into the burn.
Indeed, it is an experiment worth trying, and I promise that we will do our very best to enter MI space as soon as it is relatively safe to do so. First priority is to restore some power to Wanda.
In the meantime, might we be able to help gather any medicinal supplies? These plants are useful for feeding, but we may also need to do some triage of injuries some of these kidnapped folk might sustain, or are there any other properties of these plants that you might know of that could help us in this very particular and high risk, again, not very high reward journey that we're on?
Yeah, and Anther has just been kind of listening to this conversation. She's like, yeah, we have a great many of our plants could be repurposed for medicinal aid, you are welcome to anything. Honestly, most of what you see in there, it's already been cataloged and the genes pulled, so we could regrow anything there. That's more of our display parent plant section. So whatever you need, you are certainly welcome to. I do have some catalogs for you, and she goes and like opens up a cabinet, and you see these binders that are just thick with pages and pages and pages of notes and indexes and
laminated. 'Cause
oh yeah,
it's so wet.
they're
in
all
there.
in page protectors. it's all a thing. And she puts them down out on the table. And it's like if we do have time, you can certainly go through everything, and I can help as much as I can. You're welcome to anything we can give you. And so I think over the next couple of days, maybe, your friend Bud is spending a lot of time on board the ship. And basically, after some thought and examining what's happening, he comes to you with an idea. He sits you all down, and he's basically like, well, I'm going to give it to you straight. The engines you have right now in the state they're in, they're not going to be able to get you somewhere 12 days away, and then I assume 12 days back, and probably more if you don't want to stop here, because, well, we don't have full facilities. So I'm thinking, hear me out, I'm thinking we scrap them. And what we can do, we can put in a sproutling from our engine to replace it. And then it would start out not as powerful, of course, because it's a cutting, but it would grow in power and intensity over time. So we would install one of a Heartwood engine in your ship that would be able to power things. And I think I've come up with a way it could integrate with your tech if you are all right with that.
That's brilliant.
Our special lady is going to have so much under that hood, but I don't think we have many other options available to us. That's very ingenious.
I don't really see a way around that. I mean, if we had more time, we could get you more traditional parts, but we certainly don't have, what we would need to fix the engines as they are.
We don't need traditional parts. Give us the parts that you have. I love this.
No. Let's do that.
Lou is so excited to hear that now Wanda is also going to be like an amalgamation, like a driftling, like Lou. Like, hearing about this, Lou has never been more excited about anything in their life. Like, as soon as Bud started saying this, Lou is all in. Lou doesn't even care about the details. Put the engine in.
Oh, this is also really exciting for Atash because this is actually a Nova ability that Atash has, but on a ship scale. But when Atash is in another body, they can, if there's yet a third body at 0 health levels, like dead, another corpse, they can cannibalize parts of that corpse to heal the corpse that they are in. So this is that, but for Wanda. So super into it.
Yeah. Did we find any, did there happen to be any bodies available on the ship? I'm not sure how injured anyone got.
Yeah, if it's been more than a few days, that would definitely eventually have been a topic that I breached with Anther.
Sure. I think Anther would have told you, sadly we did lose one of our maintenance crew workers.
That's terrible. I'm so sorry. Can I see them, please?
Sure.
And while Anther walks me to them, I'm going to do my best attempt, which, let's be honest, probably isn't great, at sort of explaining what's about to happen from a conservation of materials sort of angle. And trying to incorporate whatever I've learned about the Zzhure over the last few days. Also, Atash doesn't know if this is going to work. It has never tried to inhabit a plant body before.
Yeah. What Okay, give me a little snippet of what is this as you walk up to the doors, and like what is that final point you're making as you open up on the chamber where this dead Zzhure is resting.
So it's exactly like the molting process, except the body gets to stay intact.
And
Jess.
So when you inhabit these bodies, they don't decompose. They remain.
No, there are certain excretions from my my outer layer that sort of keep things well fresh, I suppose. But that's actually what I'm really curious about, is that, you know, these enzymes that I excrete, in my experience, they're particularly useful for sort of, you know, animal flesh and organic material. I don't know what effect they would have on a plant form, whether they would be able to keep it fresh. But this is sort of how it works with animals anyway.
Very, very interesting. Well, you know, I think Cotyledon would like if his body was being used to further science. So how about this? I think we would be more than happy to let you take the body if you agreed to some basic scientific research that you would conduct and then send back to us.
Without a hesitation.
I would be incredibly interested in if, because our species reproduces, as you might imagine. Well, we can through cuttings we can simply make more of us. I would be intrigued to know if when you inhabit the body, if you could still harvest a cutting to grow another of our species. There's a lot of interesting possibilities here.
Now, I assume now that Cotyledon's passed, you couldn't take a cutting from the deceased form
not in
of
this
Cotyledon.
state, unfortunately.
Interesting. So what does my reanimation of the form do to the reproductive process? It's really fascinating. This could be a whole
very
new...
good to know. No, I would give you some journals and some questionnaires if you could,
absolutely.
could fill those
Bring
out
on
as during the whole
questionnaires.
process. This is wonderful. Think of the potential.
I love this so much. I can't handle it. Ah.
Yeah, I'm super into this. Ah, shit.
Oh, thanks, Naseem, calling us nerds.
I just saw that pop up and I was like, yep.
In the cutest way possible.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And then she's also going to, she loves this idea, and she is going to run it by the rest of the Zzhure, but she is sure that they will be on board. And she sets you up with like a notebook and some questionnaire pages that she prints out for you to do, like, you know, surveys monthly to send back to them. And then she also gives you a little kit, you know, she's been using to take care of a Zzhure body. So she gives you sort of like, it's like a mister spray. And then she gives you like some solutions that, you know, she's like, you probably won't need to eat, but like these, you know, will keep your body nice and like healthy and, you know, green and really make the petals grow back. And so I think I'm going to leave it to you to decide what is the petal, like, what is this Cotyledon, what does their body look like?
I think they are they're sort of very long, and they're one of the paler Zzhure that we've seen, sort of like bean sprout, since that's what that sprout is. And so the head is just like that tiny little like half unopened unopened leaf, right? The little baby one that first sprouts. And yeah, I think they were maybe a maintenance worker. I'm blanking on name. Anther said. So I think maybe, you know, like a younger one. Maybe their petals or their leaves would have opened, and they would have gotten a little more color to them if they'd survived.
Yeah, definitely. So I think you can certainly load this body up onto your ship, and you definitely do receive the blessings of all of these individuals.
It is everything Atash can do to not immediately try it and like, okay, I'll wait till we're on board. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Maybe not in front of them.
Yeah, maybe they don't need to chat with the corpse of Cottleeden. Yeah.
Fair.
Sure. Yeah, I guess.
So now that, I mean, you know, the basically the minute Bud like gets your approval, he is stoked to also try this because this is like brand new tech.
Yeah.
Cool.
So and they do. They all head off. They do say, unfortunately, they aren't comfortable with you seeing the engine that powers their ship. It's just to them, it's a very personal place, since it was coded from their own genetic material. So eventually, you know, you can all group up by the ship when he loads in this thing, and he wheels in. It basically looks like a cutting sort of a stump, like if you were just to take one of these sections here, and you can see all of these like sticky, sappy rings on the inside of this thing. And he climbs into the ship here, and you know, asks for all your help. I think Vam and Kazda, you can probably handle, you know, getting the engine out of there pretty quickly. Have a nice snack, clean things out. And yeah, he loads in this piece of wood, it looks like, that sits in the engine bays here. And you can see immediately as it kind of falls into place, all of this like sticky sap starts to emit from this plant material here. And you watch as Bud connects all of these wires and the synapses and these tubes onto it. And you see that the shape of this plant starts to change and sort of adapt as these pieces of materials are connecting into it. And you see these tiny tendrils start grasping out. So it creates sort of this tenuous, very fragile looking thing where all of the tubes and wires are connected to this stump that you have in the bay. And after this happens, Bud sort of sits back and looks at it, and he's like, it doesn't look like much right now, but I think it's accepted the material. So if I'm right, in even just a couple days' time, you'll begin to see an amazing difference. You know, plants are pretty hardy. Once they get over the shock, I think it'll really grow into place here. Thank you for letting me do this. I think this is going to be amazing. And honestly, if we can replicate this technology and integrate it with an MI, maybe one day people won't need MIs, or we can evolve into something more. The possibilities are endless.
It seems the capabilities of your species and your tech is something to truly behold, and you have accomplished something that I doubt any other being has accomplished in the past. So, congratulations.
Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. Well, there aren't many of us, you know, left out there. So the fact that we can use what we have to do some good, that's sort of the point, you know, of why we're all here. So this is great.
I wholeheartedly agree.
I mean, I think if, you know, don't do any piloting or anything fancy right now, but your power should be stable now if you want to switch your systems back on. That might even help, you know, sort of jumpstart things. So I'll leave you to it, you know, for a bit. I'm gonna...
Before you leave, real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any sort of manual or like a rundown of like, what is the like care of our new engine?
Oh, yes. And he brings, again, a box, sort of like they did for Cottleiden, the body. They have, like, all of these kits here, and they give you, like, this very detailed calendar about, you know, every 3 months you should fertilize with this solution and this solution. And, you know, direct sunlight, it's not really going to be a problem now, but, you know, don't install any solar panels because it's already calibrated unless you are, you know, planning to keep your ship indoors for a really long time. You know, you just got to have that mixture here. You might need a refill on water a little bit more than you would for the coolant. He walks through all of these steps here. It's basically like plant care 101 that he's giving you here. He's like, and after this has been here for a year, we could probably take a cutting of this and then maybe install it somewhere else in case you needed to, make it. But maybe you should come back here to do that. Maybe I should oversee that. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself.
We shall keep in contact, absolutely.
Yeah, he hands you a plant almanac of all the things you need to know. So, I mean, if this all works out, you should be able to, cruise off maybe even tomorrow.
I think we should check in on Wanda. Thank you so much. This is these are strange times unfurling before us, and I'm glad to have met you.
Yeah, I mean, you all, you're amazing, and I wish you the best of luck, and certainly, if you need anything, we're here. And I'll kind of, exit and leave you all to your moment, with your MI.
Maybe plural. We'll find out.
Your MIs, your me's.
Well, if anyone else would like to enter the MI space, I think Vam wants to, since we're going to hightail it out of here soon, try and record that video message while y'all are busy.
Yeah.
I'm happy to go into MI space or let, Jess, it was your ship initially. I'm not sure if you think you should welcome our MIs back on.
Well, I guess first Lou would just call out and see if Wanda responds to anything just in the usual way. Just Wanda?
And I think again you get that garbled sort of sound. So there's a response, but it's not working quite the way you think it would.
I imagine Lou probably has been in MI space before, maybe not in Wanda specifically, and doesn't like it because it's it's almost like a weird sense of losing yourself.
Yeah.
And they are very in tune with their body at all times, and they don't like that feeling. So if Ola or Atash wants to go into MI space, Lou will happily step aside to let them do it instead.
Yeah, I think Ola kind of stalks over from where he had been kind of fiddling with the pilot controls and just sort of itching to, get things back, to get Wanda back, to get the ship back in order. So I think he kind of whirls and has some quick scuttling over, gives a quick kiss to a bit of singed wall near the MI entering sort of pod. We're going to do this. And slowly with, all 6 appendages kind of lowers himself into the translucent liquid and, dives in.
Heck yeah. And I think, we're not in a combat situation, so I think you can go ahead and emerge and take your time as you move into MI space. And as you do so, and as you leave normal reality, you awaken in this place that's very different from Wanda's MI space that was described to you. As you look around, you seem to be standing in sort of a meadow that stretches out around you, and there are flowers and sunshine up above and trees in the distance. And as you kind of land on this soft, spongy grass and take in the view that's just beautiful, all of a sudden it all flickers around you. You see as you're inside this glitching system. So all the the sky cuts away and there's you see the white walls beyond you, and as you're just trying to get a focus on anything, it's all glitching in and out in these flashes of light, as if the image can't maintain itself. And as one of these glitches happens, you see that a figure appears in this field, maybe 30 feet away from you or so. It seems to be a girl, a Kithuk girl, actually, standing there. But the image flickers again, and it's you hear this static buzz that's happening all around you.
Ola is going to take very slow movements into the field, hopefully, if I'm able, and call out, well, hello there. What's your name there? And just sort of take slow, very smooth, non-scary steps toward the Kithuk girl.
And you do, and it's sort of jarring because it's like as you take these steps forward, you see like the grass disappears in these patches as you walk beneath.
Try not to look down.
Yeah, so it just looks like you're floating on empty space when these patches appear. And she looks up at you and she says, "Clara, my name is Clara. I can't see you. It's so dark." And I think from outside the MI, Atash and Lou, so you were just sort of standing there, I guess, when Ola went in, and Vam kind of ducked into their room here. And you see that this central MI panel sparks with these, like, just blue sparks start shooting off of this thing. And all of the lights that had come back on now cut off in this section around you and start like doing this weird flickering, and you begin to hear noises of something moving around in this main cabin around you. And suddenly, out of the darkness, appearing in front of you, you see this blue figure that seems outlined in electric energy almost, and you hear a scream comes from this thing that is vaguely shaped like an Eno, and it just wails and howls at you and says, "Stop! Stop! You can't!" And that's where we're going to end the episode for today.
There it is.
That's where we're going to end it! Oh my God!
Dang. Whoever said it was going to be real dangerous, Vam Fam, probably you. You were right.
You were right. It's fine. Yeah, and Vam in their room is probably just like, "What?" As this just shrieking happens. Oh, yes. Thank you, everybody, so much for being here. Yes, how dare I? I'm looking at the chat. But, yeah, that was our game for today. And we do have to go ahead and do some story path moments here. I feel like we made some big steps for some folks, so let's review these story path moments. And does anyone feel like they advanced or had an event occur this session?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, you did.
I finally got to, like, meet up with Auroran and come together and really vocalize what my cause is, which is the very first step of my gaining followers path.
Yes.
Awesome.
And we could say I got the word out, even though I'm like in the process of doing such a thing. So I'll leave that one up to you. But
no, I think so. I mean, you're sending out this video message to be delivered by these people to everything. Yeah. So I would say you probably hit 1 and 2 on your path here. So let's review for your first event. What was that reward there?
Ooh. Oh, I choose the reward. Oh, it's so many things. Oh my goodness.
Options.
Oh, I might have to come back to you.
Okay, well, what are the options? Just tell us for the folks at home.
Okay, it's a lot. I can bodies of my comrades. It doesn't explain right below when I click on it. Cries of my comrades, spreading the bodies, devour metal, which I've already chosen that one. Oh,
you get to pick a special ability.
Yes. Oh, that's what this is?
This is so specific.
I was like...
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's it. I get to select a special ability from my species.
Okay, I was like, what?
Yeah, because it's a lot of things.
Yeah, very cool. So you get a whole new ability. That's awesome. And what's the reward from the second event?
I'll
putting
come back.
The word out.
Get that
word out.
If I it's asking me to opt out or finish, so I'm worried that it will finalize my character sheet
then
if I go back.
Will stop asking you.
Okay.
Congratulations on 2 events.
I'll let everyone know next time what I chose as my rewards and what I got.
Yeah. Anyone else feel their events got in motion?
So we talked a little bit about this off the air.
Mhm.
Mine is tough because I think as it was originally sort of designed, I think it requires you to sort of stay in one place for a long time, which we're just not going to do, I don't think.
Yeah.
So sort of.
Yeah, I think so, because I was looking at yours too, and yeah, let's go ahead and reinterpret. I think that
Okay,
that
great.
story
I think
path
that's
just
great.
a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about that first event that you achieved.
Sure. So my story. And the first event is Arrival. So it's about meeting a culture unlike any I've ever experienced, and I definitely think the Zzhure qualify. You know, growing up in the Dryte system, like I think while where I lived was pretty rural, like it was close to like the center of the galaxy, so a pretty metropolitan place. So I think exposure to like the standard humanoid races wasn't uncommon, but something like the Zzhure is completely new. So at the end of this event, you decide to spend some time learning this new way of life, which I suppose if I'm going to spend time in Cottleiden,
Yeah, I think
then
that's sort of how we're playing this. Like as you're getting to
yeah,
know this body and the science
Sweet.
behind it, I think is how we're going to kind of evolve the story path. If you're all right with
I
that.
love that. Yeah, absolutely, I am. I love that. So in that case, I think I have met then this new culture and body, and so I get to select one special ability from my species as well.
Very cool. All right. So at least all of us have hit at least one event on our
Mhm.
story path. So very, very cool. We're definitely going to hit a few more over the course of our adventure. But for those of you watching out there, this is episode 5, which means we have 5 more episodes to go. We've made it halfway through this campaign. So if you do enjoy what you are seeing here, definitely please let the folks at Roll20 know that you enjoy this. Let them know you enjoy this cast. Maybe they'll bring us back. Who knows? So please like, subscribe, review, like the YouTube videos. Everything that we played here goes up on the YouTube page, so even folks who aren't watching live can still go there and catch everything. So thank you, everybody, so much for being here. I have been your game master, Celeste Conowitch. If you want to catch up with everything I'm doing, I'm a writer, streamer, podcaster out there on the internet. The best thing to do is follow me on Twitter at @cconowitch. And then, of course, if you want the full count, the full story, check out my website, celesteconowitch.com.
Awesome. This is amazing. Thank you, everybody. Chat, you've been on fire tonight. I love it. I love this cast and this group. So I have been Darcy Ross. You can find me on the internet at Darcy L. Ross on Twitter, where I hang out mostly. You can also find my work at Monty Cook Games, where I'm Community Relations Coordinator. You can find MCG all over the place at Monty Cook Games. And yeah, let me know what you're all thinking. I have so many questions about Wanda.
So many questions! A mystery indeed. I'm so glad you did Mystery Story Path, Darcy, because it's just made things so interesting.
It's so good.
I love it. I love it. Hi, everybody. I'm Eugenio. You might know me as DM Jazzy Hands. You can find me on Twitter at DM Jazzy Hands. Primarily, I am the DM and producer of one of many actual play podcasts here on this show tonight. Mine's called The Last Refuge. You can check us out at DND Last Refuge. We drop new episodes every Wednesday, and the last 2 weeks have been episodes with Miss Celeste Conowitch in them. It's been a delight. We recorded them like in April, so
I know,
it
so
was
long
fun
ago.
to re-listen.
It was fun.
So yeah, like I said, you can check out the show at DND Last Refuge on Twitter, and then I also am a variety streamer here on Twitch, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I just finished all of the DLC for Dragon Age Origins, and my community voted to jump right into Dragon Age 2 next week, so that's Tuesdays and Thursdays. And on Friday nights, I am starting a new series of me playing a new game plus of God of War, so you can check that out.
I'm Jess. You can find me on Twitter at WriteJessR. You can find all of the stuff that I do on my website, writejess.com, WRITEJSS. You can also find me every other Tuesday on the D&D actual play show D20 Dames. And you can find all of that at d20dames.com or at d20dames. I think that's everything.
That's always the way.
Yeah.
And I'm Naseem. I was your Ronin Vam Fam, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at NatSchool, as well as running the Venture Maidens Instagram. I will be playing with the Venture Maidens every Wednesday night, and I do a little Let's Play Sunday mornings on the Venture Maidens Twitch.
They're the twiz. Yes, and again, thank you everybody so much for being here. Thank you to everyone who donated to Code 2040. Looks like we got to do a raffle, so congratulations, winners. And definitely check us out. We are going to be back same time, same place, 7 p.m. Pacific time on Thursday. So tell all your friends, tell all your enemies, tell all your space lovers and hate fighters,
Rivals,
champions. I don't know. Just tell them all to be here. And
tell your plants.
Yeah. Get some plants. Everyone who loves plants should be here. But that's it from us, everybody. So until next time, blast off.
Blast off!
Blast off, everybody. Goodbye.